Fresh census data came out last week that led the Wall Street Journal to admit that, quote, Americans who think they're losing ground are right. Meanwhile, Nobel Keynesian Paul Krugman was being skewered for a bootlicking interview where he marveled at the miracle of Bidenomics. It's just surreally good. And expressing frustration that nobody believes him since grocery prices are up 17% while real incomes are down 3 years now. Here's Krugman struggling to contain his emotions.
The striking thing, if you look at it, is not just, the economic data have been surreally good. I mean, even optimists are just stunned by how quickly and how painlessly inflation has come down.
Classic. Even optimists are stunned. First up, the census, which tallies up earnings statistics every year. They reported that Americans are poorer under that optimist stunning Bidenomics, with child poverty jumping, 38 million Americans now living in poverty, and real incomes falling since 2019. In just the past year, census found median real household income fell by $1,800. It's about 2.5%. And it's now down $3,700, almost 5%, in the last 3 years. Households in the fourth quintiles, that's 94 to 153,000, so a two-earner middle-class family, lost $4,600 last year and $6,700 in the last 3. Earners with college degrees were the biggest losers, dropping $10,000 in household income. The reason, of course, is inflation. Wages are not keeping up, with full-time workers losing between $3,000 and $4,000 last year, despite low unemployment, thanks to millions of Americans still out of the labor force. It's even worse for poor Americans. The bottom 10% lost 6.3% of their income last year after counting for inflation. This is because inflation always hits the poor hardest, since they don't have assets for the Fed to pump. Instead, they pay for the Fed's pump at the grocery store. All while government subsidies for electric vehicles or solar panels are not going in the pockets of single mothers working the night shift. Instead, they do show up as more inflation. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained. What's next is, with inflation roaring back, real wages could get cut off at the legs just when they were starting to catch up. Meanwhile, recession indicators are turning red one by one. When that recession hits, jobs dry up, trimming wages and making it harder, if not impossible, to make up the lost ground to inflation. If China's troubles send a flood of cheap imports, while green restrictions keep knocking out American manufacturing, even as oil prices keep rising, we would have a perfect storm for blue collars and an increasing number of middle-class families to fall even further behind. What could stop it all is slashing deficits so the Fed could ease off the rate hikes and get the productive economy back to growth, but I would not bet on that anytime soon. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.